Present.
Councilman Frazier.
Here.
Councilman Lance is absent. Councilman Cyber.
Here.
Councilwoman Seymour. Present. President George.
Here.
You have 5 members present.
Thank you. Let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got a number of people in the audience this evening, and keep excited to be This is an exciting agenda. With many appointments and reappointments with a number of our residents and individuals that will be serving in various departments and commissions. And we'll get to that a little bit later. The first item on our agenda is a presentation and recognition to the Veterans Commission, and that's the two individuals that will be placed in service, and I'm going to ask Mr. Daniel right there to come forward, along with our acting mayor, Dr. Coffey, and giving a presentation to Ms. Ethel Grossman and Mrs. Edith.
Madam President, I really appreciate this opportunity to honor 2 outstanding veterans and advocates for veterans. And I'm sad and glad at the same time because I'm losing 2 extremely productive individuals and veterans. The first one is Ms. Ethel Grossman. Ethel is a World War II veteran. She's a true individual of the greatest generation. Ethel graduated from nursing school and immediately volunteered for the war in World War II. She served in the South Pacific, and she served admirably, and she has a story on the Library of Congress website. If you're interested, you can go to the Library of Congress website, loc.gov/vet, and you can pull up the story. And I interviewed her for that, and it's moving, very moving, to hear someone in the midst of battle and what she contributed. Ms. Grossman, please stand and come. We have a flag here. The flag is the Southfield Veterans Commission flag up on there. It's hereby awarded to Ethel S. Grossman in recognition and appreciation for your contribution and commitment and devotion to the mission of the Southfield Veterans Commission. Ms. Grossman was instrumental in ensuring we address women veterans issues at each of our annual veteran seminars. So Ms. Grossman, this is your flag, and I hate to see you go. And she would tell her friends when she would come to meetings and assisting with the interview, she said, "I'm going to work." So she's definitely a product of the greatest generation, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next retiring veteran and also a significant contributor to the veterans here in Southfield and also in that metropolitan area. Felix is Felix is a Vietnam era veteran, and Felix rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel in the military. He retired and had a very productive life here in metropolitan Detroit. And Felix, could you please stand? The Southfield Veterans Commission flag of honor is awarded to Felix L. Sullivan in recognition and appreciation for being a founding member and tireless advocate for veterans and the mission of the Southfield Veterans Commission. Felix has been a guiding light that contributed greatly to our annual seminars and our mission of service and recognition to veterans. Thank you, Felix.
They're welcome to make them at this point, Mr. Sullivan or either Mrs. Brooks.
permitting us to organize the Southfield Veterans Commission. Thank you for support, and I'd like to thank every veteran that's here with us this evening. Thank you for serving, every one of you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is Mr. David Dillon, our librarian, and he's going to give us an update on what is happening with government distribution of tax funds.
Good evening, Council President Jordan, Acting Mayor Perkowski, and honorable council members. I am here before you today to talk not just to the council, but to our citizens. There's been a major change in the way that tax forms are being distributed, and it is going to be a painful change that the library wanted to be sure to tell as many people as possible in as many ways as possible. Due to the 2014 Omnibus Appropriations Bill, the IRS found that they had a $300 million cut in the area of forms distribution. Because of that, for this filing season, the libraries of America are only going to receive the forms you fill out for the 1040, the 1040A, and the 1040EZ. They will be available, in fact, they are available right now in the library. But no instruction books will be sent, no additional forms will be sent. Oftentimes we are waiting for forms. Well, we're not waiting this year because we're not getting. There will be one reference copy of publication 17 sent to each library, but all of the schedules and things like that will be only available online, or you can call the IRS and get them. We are suggesting that people come early, because that one copy of forms that we have will help you to determine what forms you might need, and we can help people find the forms they need, but they will have to pay for the photocopying of the forms at 15 cents a page. And this is something that's across America. It is all libraries, and we do want people to be aware of this. Now, if someone does not, if they have the internet at home, they can go to www.irs.gov/forms, F-O-R-M-S. Tax products can be ordered at www.irs.gov/order forms, and you can call. But if you call the IRS, they are saying that it will be at least a 30-minute wait before a human being talks to you. So we did not want to encourage people to do that. I will say that if someone does not have the internet at home but has a computer and has a thumb drive, they can actually download those forms to their thumb drive and then print them out at home so they don't have to pay for the forms. We do wish that we could carry that weight and print the forms for everyone, but we just do not have either the personnel nor the funding to do that. The final thing I guess I need to tell you is that the Michigan forms are fine. They are just as always. We have the forms and we have the booklets. So we just want people to be prepared, come early, take a look at what you need, and have some cash if you want to buy them. And we are already experiencing several people who don't seem to understand. They say, well, I'll just go to another library, or I'll just go to the post office, and they're not going to be able to find those anywhere. So I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of this change, and we apologize, but there's nothing really we can do. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before we move to the appointment, there's one individual I've asked to come to this evening's meeting, and it's Dr. Tamika Scott. If she could quickly come forward. I did see her in the audience. She opened up a new restaurant in Southfield, and I wanted to have her tell us about the restaurant and about the menu selection, and we're glad to have you here in the city of Southfield with your business.
Well, thank you, President Jordan, City Council, for having me here today. I'm really excited about this new venture. We are at 29555 Northwestern Highway. We're at Tower Center Plaza, right next door to Duos, and it's called Jazz Cats. We bring live jazz music with Cajun cuisine. I did bring samples of menus and brief facts about the entertainment that we have every week.
Can you give us the hours of operation?
5 to 12 p.m. and on the weekends from 5 to 2 a.m.
Okay, that's called the Jazz.
Jazz Cat. K-A-T.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll move to the appointments. We have several appointments to the library board. We'll entertain a motion for each different board. How will we do that?
Madam Chair, Mr. Fracassi and I are going to do the Arts Commission. He'll start it because 3 of those appointments are his, and then we'll pick up from there. He also has the youth, however, represented first.
Madam Chair, it's a privilege to appoint one of our youths to the Southfield Library Board pursuant to provisions of Section 618, subsection A of the City Charter. I hereby present for your confirmation the following youth appointment to the Library Board. Anthony Airbor, 29309 Little Lake Court in Southfield. Mr. Airbor is a student at the University of High School Academy and is active in school and community activities. If confirmed by the honorable body, Mr. Airbor's term of service will be effective through February 25th, 2016. Mr. Snyder, Councilman Snyder mentioned about the Cultural Arts Commission.
Can we have Mr. Anthony Newport come forward?
Sure.
To the audience? Move forward your own at the same time if you want.
That's an option, all right?
Put a name in it.
Serving on the library board.
So just why don't you...
I go up right up behind my seat there and...
Oh, no, because that's where you make the why don't you want...
Well, you can get it back. Very well.
Everybody will come up and say,
Need a motion to, he wants to do it all.
okay, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to move the appointment of Anthony Airbor as youth representative to the Southfield Public Library Board. Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Carter, supported by Mr. Frazier to approve the youth appointment to the library board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, Madam Chair, we have appointments to the Public Arts Commission. And then I get Mr. Cyber come out so he can do the council and do the makeup of the board. The mayor has some appointments and so does the council members.
When your name is called, if you can come forward, because we have your faces, we want to put your name in the faces.
The mayor's appointments would be pursuant to provisions of Article 4, Chapter 4 of the Southfield City Code. I hereby present for your confirmation the following appointments to the Southfield Public Arts Commission. Robert E. McTaggart, 19455 Middlesex, here in the city of Southfield. The term would be February 23rd, 2018. Mr. Taggart has extensive knowledge and experience with arts and art programming. He is a retired art and humanities educator. If confirmed by your honorable body, Mr. Taggart's term of service will be effective through February 23rd, 2018. The second one is Harvey Goldstein, 25029 Woodvale Drive, North. His term would be February 23rd, 2017. Mr. Goldstein holds a master's degree in art education from Wayne State University. Art is a lifelong passion of his. If confirmed by your honorable body, his term of service will be effective through February 23rd, 2017. Third is James Stella, 428 Wishbone Drive, Bloomfield Hills. Term would be February 23rd, 2016. Mr. Stella holds a bachelor's degree in fine art from the University of Michigan and is a self-employed artist. If confirmed by your honorable body, Mr. Stella's term of service will be effective through February 23rd, 2016.
Okay, Mr.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Taggart, or Mr. Goldstein, or Mr. Stella in the audience. Can you please come forward when your name is called?
Got a comment, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Tang will have you be sworn in later on, he's not a town president.
And then we
Madam
have-
Chair?
Just one second, Mr. Frazier. We have Mr. Goldstein. All right, there it is. Mr. Frazier.
I move that we approve the appointments of Mr. Robert E. McTaggart, Mr. Harvey Goldstein, and James Stella to the Arts Commission for the terms that have been presented by the mayor. Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, to make the appointments for the Public Arts Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now let's go to the appointments for the Public Arts Commission. Stay right there. Public Arts Commission for the council.
That concludes the mayor's portion. Thank you, Don, for sharing this. First, I want to just mention that for several Friday nights in January, Councilman Cruz and Councilman Frazier and I met, and it's a new year, time to clean up and update our boards and commissions. So this evening, we have 30 appointments or reappointments to our various boards and commissions. We're going to start with the Arts Commission, as the Mayor Perconti has led that off. But I wanted to mention that this is a brand-new commission for the city of Southfield. 9 people are being appointed to this commission, 3 from the mayor and 6 from the council. I think I can speak for both Councilman Cruz and Frazier when I say that we were extremely pleased with the field of applicants that we had for this new commission, as well as the talents that each of these nominees is going to bring to our Public Art Commission. So at this point, I'd like to bring up very quickly the other appointees to the Public Art Commission, and we'll start with Shea Baum, whose term will expire on February 22nd, 2016. Mr. Baum is an art dealer and has been a member of the community for a number of years. Secondly, I'd like to bring up Ronald Berry, who is a longtime artist, illustrator. Mr. Berry has a commercial artist for over 42 years and has worked as well as in various aspects of art, fundraising, and is, again, a longtime resident. Thirdly, I'd like to ask to come up is Skip Davis, William Davis, who has been an instructor at the College for Creative Studies, and is a graphic designer with over 45 years experience. His term will expire on February 22nd, 2017. I neglected to mention that Mr. Berry's term will expire on February 22nd, 2018. Thirdly, I'd like to bring up Dolores Flagg, or fourthly, Dolores Flagg, who is a former art teacher in the Southfield Public Schools. I personally know the work that Dolores was able to get from her students, superior efforts. Next, I'd like to bring up Philip Lucas, and his term would expire on February 22nd, 2016. Phil Lucas is a graduate student assistant at Lawrence Technological University. He is currently involved with art and design in his study on how entrepreneurial ability stems from the creative mindset and influences community members. And then finally, I'd like to, our sixth member from council is Nicholas Pisana. Nicholas, I think, will be our youngest member. We're glad to have that young energy. How are you tonight? Nicholas is an illustrator, and he has various outlets, including Real Detroit and highfructose.com, which we'll have to go to and investigate. Nicholas's appointment goes to February 22nd, 2017. So to the council, I'd like to stop here and ask recommendation to approve this, the Public Art Commission.
Madam President,
Mr. Frazier.
I move that we approve the appointments of Shea Baum, Ronald Berry, Skip Davis, Dolores Flagg, Philip Lucas, and Nicholas Pizzana to the Arts Commission, and for the terms that were outlined by Mr. Seibert. Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, to approve the appointments for the Public Arts Commission. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I would like to say that I was impressed by the quality of candidates that came before the board to volunteer their time to the city of Southfield to start this art commission. I think we have an excellent foundation for the art commission, and they'll set the pattern for the future. And I'm real excited to see these appointments being made.
Absolutely. This is an important commission for the city, and we're so happy that you will be serving and giving your time to bring the public art to various sections of our city and throughout the entire city. Thank you. You all just step back, take 2 steps back, because we're going to swear everybody in at the same time.
All right.
And then we'll move to the next total living.
We're going to proceed then with the Administrative Civil Service Commission, and this is the reappointment of Coretta Hogue. Ms. Hogue, are you in the audience? Her term will expire on October 15th, 2020. Ms. Hogue's experience in negotiations and time management, conflict resolution, and communication skills has been essential to this commission. Next, Board of Review, which is coming up shortly. We need to fill some vacancies, so we're asking Daniel Brightwell, who also serves on our Veterans Commission, but has extensive background in accounting and financial management for both Ford Motor Company and Ameritech, to step into the Board of Review, and also as an alternate appointment. Many times the Board of Review stretches over many days. Willie Davis, and his appointment would expire, both of these appointments would expire on February 22nd, 2018.
Okay, I'll take a motion for those 3 appointments.
Madam President,
Mr. Frazier.
I move that we approve the appointment to the Board of Review for Daniel Brightwell and Willie Davis as the alternate, and a reappointment to the Administrative Civil Service Commission to Coretta Hogue. Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, to the various so-mentioned commissions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next we have the Total Living Commission, and we're always looking for young people to serve, and we have found a young lady who somebody earlier this evening thought she was still in high school. Her name is Lauren Valor. Lauren, you want to come up? Lauren holds a Master's of Arts in Public Policy from the New England College School of Graduate Studies and Bachelor of Arts from Michigan State University. She was in the James Madison program, which is very prestigious. We're really, really pleased to be appointing Lauren to the Total Living Commission. We also are going to recommend, and Lauren's term is February 23rd, 2018. We're also going to appoint Deborah Walton Medley, I know she's here, to a term that expires on February 23rd, 2018. Ms. Walton Medley holds an MBA from the Phoenix University and a Bachelor's of Arts from Michigan State University, and she's the Director of Financial Operations with the Michigan Municipal League, an organization that we're well familiar with. Then we have some reappointments to the Total Living Commission. Harmon Gunther, Green Spruce, who's been a longtime resident and neighborhood chairman. His term would expire on July 19, 2016. Reappointment of Veronica Leonard to the Total Living Commission, term expiring on October 30th, 2015. Ms. Leonard joined the commission in 2006. And has been a great asset to the commission and has had excellent attendance. She's an attorney with membership in the National Bar Association as well as the State Bar of Michigan and the Family Law Section. Then we're also requesting the reappointment of Ari Michael Mondelbaum to the Total Living Commission. Mr. Mondelbaum currently has chaired the commission. His term would expire February 17, 2018. He has an MBA in management and marketing and has put many hours of volunteer service into the community as well as synagogue, and has been an excellent leader of the Total Living Commission. Next, we have the reappointment of Patricia McMillan, whose term would expire on July 22, 2017. And Ms. McMillan's experience as an educator provides resources to support of youth and the young at heart in the community. And she's been a member of good standing on the Total Living Commission. And then reappointment of Charles Price as an emeritus member who has served for a number of years, as well as a past president of the Roseland Woods Neighborhood Association. Reappointing Connie Williams, whose term would expire February 14, 2018. Mr. Williams, a longtime member as the former school board president, and it has an accounting background, worked for Gloucester Hospital. We're also recommending the reappointment of Lewis Williams of Arlington Court. His term would expire on October 13, 2016. Mr. Williams has served in many capacities in the community, in church groups, and homeowner associations, and has been a member of good standing of the Total Living Commission. And finally, reappointment of Warren Weigel as an emeritus member of the Total Living Commission. Mr. Weigel has lived in Southfield for over 45 years and has a background in retail and retail management, and has been on the Total Living Commission for quite a few years now.
I think you've overlooked one, Jonathan Adams.
Oh, excuse me, Jonathan Adams, my friend. Jonathan Adams is well known by the council. Come on up, Jonathan. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move this along. Jonathan Adams is very well known by the Total Living, or by the Total Living Commission, as well as Community Pride program, but also by the council and mayor, because John is the founder and president of the Southfield Parks and Garden Club, and part of the annual garden walk, as well as the community farm on Washer Road. And we recommend his appointment to the Total Living Commission. Thank you for pointing out my omission.
Madam President, I move that we approve the appointments of Mr. Jonathan Adams, Lauren Gillard, Deborah Walton Medley to the Total Living Commission, and reappointments to the Total Living Commission of Harmon Gunther, Veronica Leonard, Ari Mondelbaum, Patricia McMillan, Connie Williams, Lewis Williams, and Charles Price as emeritus, and Warren Weigel as emeritus.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Ms. Seymour, to approve the appointments and reappointments to the Total Living Commission. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Veterans Commission, as you know, earlier this evening, we honored 2 people on their service, so we have 2 new members to appoint, as well as the reappointment of the chair. Members of council, we're recommending the appointment of Gerald Houston. Mr. Houston has served his country admirably in the United States Air Force. He holds a bachelor's degree from Wayne State University and an MBA from Morehouse University. And then we're also recommending the appointment of Marie Watson expire on February 22nd, 2018. Ms. Watson attended Oakland Community College, Eastern Michigan University, and Central Michigan, and has done extensive volunteer work with veterans organizations. And then we want to reappoint our very able chairperson, Daniel Gregwell, to the Veterans Commission. His term would expire on December 13th, 2017.
Madam President,
Mr. Frazier?
I move that we approve the appointments and reappointments of Gerald Houston and Marie Watson to the Veterans Commission, and the reappointment to the Veterans Commission of Daniel Gregwell.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, for the appointment and reappointment to the Veterans Commission. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, this evening, we're recommending the reappointment of John Petty to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Mr. Petty has been serving on this board since 2006. He's a member in good standing, and many of us know Mr. Petty from his work on the board of Lawrence Technological University, where he's done an outstanding job as the university has grown. We've seen a number of groundbreakings this year. So with that, that concludes our nominations to boards and commissions for this month.
Madam President,
Mr. Frazier?
I move that we reappoint to the Zoning Board of Appeals Mr. John Petty.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Ms. Moore, to approve Mr. Petty to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to...
I'm sorry, we have one more, two more we missed. Sorry about that. We have the building code, and I've lost my place, so, help me,
Jeremy Griffiths and Lee Mamola.
Yeah, Jeremy Griffiths and Lee Mamola, would they come forward? Both of these gentlemen are members in good standing of the building commission.
Madam President,
Mr. Frazier?
I move that we reappoint to the Building Code Board Mr. Jeremy Griffiths and Lee Mamola.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Ms. Moore, to approve the two individuals to the Building Code Board. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to have you sworn in by our deputy clerk, and you will also be given a certificate, and then if you can come around and greet the council. All right.
Is there anyone left in the audience?
Ready? You all raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, the Southfield City Charter, and you will faithfully perform the duties to the boards and commissions for which you are either appointed or reappointed in and for the city of Southfield, county of Oakland, state of Michigan, to the best of your ability?
Congratulations.
thought that would come out front. Welcome to the we got everything. Oh, I'm about to leave my They have a Thursday night. What about it? Take a trio out to dinner.
Okay, well, let me
And
look at my
then you-
calendar because if I have a doctor's appointment,
Okay, and I'll remind you of
I move the approval of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole, January 12th, Committee of the Whole meeting, January 21st, and Committee of the Whole meeting, January 26th, Lord.
We have a motion by Mr. Cybert, supported by Mr. Frazier, to approve the minutes as stated. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we will move to the consent agenda. Council, are there any items on the consent agenda that you would like to have removed? Okay, seeing none, the first item on our consent agenda A, is the authorization to purchase replacement vehicles for the police department in the amount totaling $347,177, and these funds will be taken from our motor pool equipment replacement fund. Consent agenda item B is authorization to sell real property on an unimproved Fillmore Street, and the purchase price will be $7,800 to Rabbi Asharon Kowalski for the purchase, and the city shall retain a 15-foot temporary construction easement along the border. And we will authorize the mayor and city clerk to authorize the purchase agreement and all the other necessary documents for the close of this sale. Consent agenda item C is the FEMA request for permission to apply for the 2014 staffing for adequate hire and emergency response safer grant, and we will authorize the city staff to submit an application to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security staffing for adequate fire and emergency response grant in the amount of $3,615,000 to hire 17 firefighters. Consent agenda item D is to receive bid on printing the Southfield bidding newsletter in the total amount of $33,100 for community relations. Yes. Consent agenda item E is the receipt of bid for the debris removal services for the Public Works Department, and we're authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a contract with the Ellsworth Industries of Plymouth, Michigan, for a total of $136,890 for debris hauling services for a one-year contract, March the 1st, 2015 through February 28, 2016, with a one-year option for an extension.
Madam President,
Mr. Frazier.
I move that we approve consent agenda items A, B,
C, D, and E.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cybert, to approve the consent agenda items. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move to the public hearing portion of our consent agenda. Mr. Grove.
Through the chair. The first public hearing was actually held on Monday, December 15, 2014, to consider GP 1272P. Further consideration of this matter will be discussed tonight. To remind council, GP 1272P was a council-initiated zoning text amendment to amend Title V of the zoning and planning code of the city of Southfield to add a new section regarding medical marijuana as a special land use under Article 19 light industrial districts, and to add new definitions to Article 2. This amendment is specifically concerns providing special land use provisions to allow for medical marijuana facilities in accordance with the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, PA 208, initiated law number 1 as amended. And I'd like to just spend a little time on what we're proposing. As the council may recall, this was adopted by the state in 2008, which regulates specific use of medical marijuana within the state of Michigan. We are taking a zoning approach on this matter to regulate it in specific districts as a special land use. We've amended Article 2 definitions consistent with the state law, and I'd like to spend a little time highlighting specific regulations within Article 19 light industrial districts, uses permitted subject to special approval and licensing. And after I am done, the city attorney is going to introduce the licensing of the medical marijuana facilities. Here we go. Proposed uses under special approval. Medical marijuana facilities shall be at least 500 feet of a residentially zoned district or drug-free zone. Any parcel within 500 feet of a parcel that contains a house, adult regulated use, school, church, child care facility or park, and any parcel within 1,500 feet to a pawn shop or alternative financial service establishment should not qualify for a medical marijuana facility. Usable marijuana on site, when not actively distributed, shall be kept or stored within an enclosed locked facility, accessible only to caregivers and or qualifying patients. Marijuana, if cultivated on the site, shall be kept within an indoor enclosed locked facility. Consumption of marijuana on the premises is prohibited. There shall be no outdoor open use of or display of marijuana upon the licensing premises. A medical marijuana facility shall distribute marijuana for medical use only as authorized per the state law. No more than 5 qualified patients per primary caregiver. The amount of usable marijuana stored at the medical marijuana facility for each patient shall be limited to 2.5 ounces of usable marijuana, exclude seeds, stalks, and roots, and 12 marijuana plants kept in an indoor enclosed locked facility as defined by the state law. The medical marijuana facility shall be subject to periodic and unannounced inspections to ensure compliance with all applicable laws and regulations, including but not limited to state law and city ordinances. Hours of operation are consistent and similar to drugstore hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There shall be a minimum distance from one medical marijuana facility to another of at least 250 feet. Drive-through facilities shall be prohibited. There's regulations with regards to security and lighting. The location from which a primary caregiver manufactures, stores, or distributes medical marijuana to a qualifying patient should not be used by another primary caregiver for any purpose whatsoever. The caregiver activity shall not be advertised as or permitted to operate as a medical marijuana provisioning center, a safety compliance facility, a dispensary, compassion club, clinic, or hospital. Nothing in this section shall permit or or be construed or interpreted to permit a medical marijuana dispensary, provisioning center, safety compliance facility, or compassionate club, and those similar activities or uses are expressly prohibited hereunder. What we're trying to attempt with the zoning ordinance is not to regulate individuals in their home who are either qualifying patients or primary caregivers. What we're trying to do is take the business aspect out of residential areas. And if there's a senior or another qualifying patient who has a need for medical marijuana as defined by state law, but doesn't have the wherewithal to grow their own plants, to secure seeds to grow those plants, a primary caregiver will need a facility in order to do that. That primary caregiver has to have an intimate relationship with those 5 qualifying patients. And what we're trying to attempt to do is to provide a safe and secure location for the growing and storage of those medical marijuana plants as defined by state law outside of residential districts. And that's basically what we're proposing here tonight. And again, this is consistent with state law, but it's the zoning regulation of those permitted uses, regulating them to light industrial district as a special land use. This is not a home occupation, or we're trying to take any negative consequences of a business like this with people coming and going at all hours of the night in a residential area. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague to talk a little bit about the licensing, and then both of us will be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
And I'd also like to defer at this time. We received a letter from Mr. Allen, is it Pesler? Will you address that as well, Ms. Ward?
Yes, certainly. Good evening. Accompanying the proposed zoning ordinance for the medical marijuana facilities, we also have a proposed licensing ordinance in front of council this evening. The licensing ordinance basically will permit the building, the fire department, the police department, the right to inspect the proposed facility to make sure that it's in accordance with all city ordinances and other laws. It also will, again, talk about the operations to some extent, that there be a secure lockbox for any kind of compensation or monetary payment that's made by a qualifying patient. Also talks about no distribution, sales of foodstuffs containing any type of medical marijuana at the facility. We did talk about the proposed ordinance at the previous COW meeting, and we also talked about the input of the police department. The police department felt that in order to appropriately enforce the marijuana laws that still prohibit marijuana, unless it's medical marijuana, that the police chief felt that it was better to have medical marijuana facilities in a certain district, so that if other operations where there was marijuana being sold or consumed or whatever were taking place in the city, then the police department would know that that's not a permitted facility because it's not in an appropriate zone. So looking more like the philosophy of kind of combining the areas where these facilities, medical marijuana facilities, can operate, so that the police department then knows in other areas and other districts of the city that those would not be actual medical marijuana approved facilities. So that's kind of the basis of where the zoning and then the licensing works kind of in tandem. We did review the letter that was delivered, and there's a difference of opinion, obviously. The Terbeek decision, which is the subject matter of the letter, it does indicate that what the city of Wyoming did was prohibited. The city of Wyoming banned medical marijuana on the basis that it was outlawed by federal law. Federal law said that marijuana was still a controlled substance. Wyoming and several other cities took the position that if we include a provision in our zoning law that says nothing is permitted in our city that is in violation of federal law, then medical marijuana, by definition, was not permitted. So the Terbeek case says that you cannot prohibit you as a city cannot prohibit what the state permits. The state permits medical marijuana, and a city does not have the power to then prohibit medical marijuana within its borders. What we've done here is we are not prohibiting it. It is permitted. We are trying to figure out the most appropriate zoning district for these facilities to be situated in. And there's a footnote in the Terbeek decision by the Supreme Court, and they basically say that they are not intending to remove all local regulation away from cities. That's not what they're doing, and they specifically say that we do not hold that the Medical Marijuana Act forecloses all local regulation of marijuana, nor does this case require us to reach whether and to what extent the Medical Marijuana Act might occupy the field of medical marijuana regulation. So it's an open question. I understand that some people would look at Terbeek and say you can't touch medical marijuana in any zoning context. I would disagree. I think that the Supreme Court has indicated that there is a role for municipalities to play in local regulation of medical marijuana. We have, if you look at both the zoning ordinance and the licensing ordinance, both of those ordinances basically will say that if it's permitted by state law, it's permitted. All that we're saying is where is it most appropriately located so that we don't have maybe negative consequences next to a school or next to some other use that really is not appropriately to have those zones. So I think, again, with the Terbeek case, we're going to get more and more cases now. We're going to understand where the courts want to go on this, but I think the Supreme Court has indicated that there is room for local regulation, and that's what we're doing here. As we move forward, as we get maybe more and more divinity to this act and what role local governments can play, as we just know that there is some local regulation allowed, we don't know to what extent, we'll come back to council. And if we need to, tweak or amend ordinances because there are cases that say, you've gone too far, you haven't gone, we'll be up on those and we'll come back to council. I think we're trying to reasonably get into, to make sure that, because again, we have a dichotomy here. Medical marijuana is allowed. Marijuana is still an illegal substance. And so the balance is trying to permit what the state permits for medical marijuana, but still have an enforcement mechanism for illegal and unlawful marijuana. So with that, I guess that would be my response to that letter. And again, as we move forward, as cases come out, as courts weigh in on this, we will certainly keep abreast of that.
Madam President, I also want to add, just again to reassure the council, this is not a retail operation. So other forms of marijuana, such as food products, would not be permitted. This is not open to the public as a retail operation. You may ask why light industrial? Well, light industrial uses of manufacturing, compounding, processing, and even growing of certain other food stuff is a permitted use in light industrial. And that's a reason why we chose light industrial as opposed to other more retail-oriented districts.
We have already conducted the public hearing on this matter, which was December the 18th, 2014. So we've already conducted the public hearing. At this time, can we introduce the ordinance? Ms. Warder, would you know that?
Well, there would be an approval and introduction of the zoning ordinance, and then the same process for the licensing ordinance.
May I make one brief comment?
We've already had the public hearing.
30 seconds. Comment.
I'll give you 30 seconds, and I'm going to time you because we have had the public hearing already.
Do you think you could pass a law requiring a special driver's license in the city of Southfield? It's the same situation with what you're trying to do here. You cannot impose a civil penalty. It's clearly the law, and that's what this ordinance would do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, counsel?
I guess I'm a little confused. This is not a public hearing?
Public hearing that would have been required for the zoning ordinance was held in December, and that was open, people commented, and then it was closed.
Okay.
There would be no public hearing on the licensing ordinance.
I move that we approve the medical marijuana zoning, and introduce ordinance number
1637.
as an emergency ordinance, so it'll be introduced and enacted in the same motion.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Seibert, to introduce and enact ordinance 1637 for the medical marijuana special land use provision. That's license. Is that right, Ms. Ward?
Well, you had clarification with the planner when the moratorium was to expire.
30 days from, 90 days from the December meeting.
So is that why you're doing the as emergency? I mean,
I
there's,
wasn't aware of that.
see, I wasn't either. There'd be no reason to do it as emergency ordinance if we could enact it in March, and it would still be, I thought that we were on the track to enact it before the expiration of the moratorium.
That's part of it. I don't know who wrote it, but that's the instructions I have.
He's not ready.
I think we can introduce it tonight and
Enact it.
look at it prior to the 90 days.
That'd be the 23rd.
So, double check that.
Okay, you can always bring it.
Because I'm not the only one confused.
I think the consensus is that the track it was on was so that it could be introduced tonight, and there would still be time in March to enact within the stated period. So my feeling is you would just introduce tonight. That's how I structured the licensing. I was not asking for it as emergency.
And that was.
I just thought there was another rule 10 or different name.
I know.
Mr. Frazier, you changed your mind.
Yes, I withdraw the enacted portion of it, but I move that we introduce ordinance number 1637 covering the medical marijuana
And I'll
zoning.
support that.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Seibert, to introduce ordinance 1637. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Crowe will go public hearing, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Our public hearing, GP 1270.
Are you going to act on the
Oh,
licensing ordinance also at this time, or do you want to defer that to the attorney's portion?
Do it now.
I move that we approve ordinance number 1638 as licensing of medical marijuana.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Seibert, to approve ordinance 1638.
Introduce.
This would be 1638, to approve and introduce that ordinance.
To approve and introduce. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Did we cover everything?
You have, yes.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Crowe.
GP 1274 is a special use request of Gwendolyn Garland to establish a group child care home for the care of more than 6 but no more than 12 minor children on property located at 20791 Secluded Lane on the south side of Secluded Lane between Prescott and Taberton. A brief video introduction.
Secluded Lane, on the south side of Secluded Lane between Prescott and Taber, in section 34 of the city. The subject property, as well as the properties to the north, south, east across Everett Street and west are zoned R1 single-family residential. With regard to the existing land uses, the subject property, as well as the properties to the north across Secluded Lane, east and west, are developed with single-family homes fronting Secluded Lane. To the
the south is a fence separating the property from the single-family lot fronting Melrose Avenue. The site contains .21 acres of land with 75 feet of frontage on Everett Street and a depth of 120 feet. The special use request is to permit a group child care home on property located within the single-family residential zoning district. Issues considered by the planning department during the review of the special use were the standards and conditions of Article 5, single-family residential district as it relates to group child care homes. The proposal is in accordance with the Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan noting moderate density single-family for this parcel. The petitioner is to implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security.
This item was, the planning department received a special use request on November 12, 2014. The planning commission held a public hearing on this matter on January 28, 2015, and made a favorable recommendation. The applicant has been operating home daycare for about 10 years. She was operating in the basement of her former home. She purchased the property next door, relocated to the first floor for proper means of ingress and egress, and eliminated some other issues that are associated with the basement use. She was previously established and licensed through the state as a group child care home prior to the council adopting our home occupation special land use for group child care. She has by right can operate as a family child care with up to 6. She would like to continue her operation of the group child care home, and that's why she's here tonight. And I didn't see her in the audience, but if she's here, I'd like to invite her up to make a brief presentation prior to the public hearing being open. I also want to point out that I believe in the back of your packet were some color photos of the operation.
If you could give us your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good evening, Honorable President Jordan, Mayor Ferrazzi, and council members. My name is Gwendolyn Garland. My address is 20791 Secluded Lane in Southfield, Michigan. I've been a proud resident in the Southfield area for 15 years. I was officially licensed by the state of Michigan for a group child care home on March 29th of 2005. I recently moved and was advised that the city of Southfield has adopted a special use request for group home providers such as myself since my initial licensing in 2005. And I'm here to seek your approval for licensing as a group home provider at my new residence. I have received 7 additional letters of support, one from my state licensing consultant, some from former parents and grandparents, and I have copies for each of you. Upon opening my child care home, I didn't want to be a typical daycare. I wanted to offer my parents and students a lot more than that, and I have done just that. My students are some of the top students in public, Montessori, and private schools throughout the state of Michigan. They have tested at second grade reading levels upon leaving my school going into kindergarten. Some of my students have also scored well over 95% above the national average on tests, promoting schools like Southfield Christian and Country Day to ask their parents where they attended preschool and who runs the program. They are all shocked to hear that Children's Education Station is a child care home. I also believe in giving. My school, we support various charities and organizations throughout the year. We have adopted families and have raised over $500 for charities like the American Cancer Society, St. Jude, and we also participate in the annual Making Stride walks in downtown Detroit. My students participate in monthly field trips and field days. We go to Kalahari Water Park Resort in Sandusky, Ohio. We also have overnight stays there, and we also get to see a lot of our grads and families. They come and join us during those times as well. I also have had various entertainments for the parents and children at the Skyline Club here in the city of Southfield. We also have had the pleasure of having Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence read during Dr. Seuss's birthday a couple of years back when she was our current mayor. Just like you, I have worked to support my family. I've had many jobs, and I'm lucky to say that I liked all of them, but they were just that, jobs. I have never been passionate about anything until I found the passion 9 or so years ago when I opened my own business, Children's Education Station. I stepped out on faith and started that business, and it has been very successful for me and for my family. I would hope you feel that after reading all of the information that I have provided, I am an asset not only to the community, but also to our education system here in the city of Southfield. This is what I was born to do. I know this because I have been in business for almost 10 years with only word-of-mouth advertisement. And I am hoping to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of my business next month. And I will be able to do that and more with your approval of my special use request. Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and if there's anyone in the audience that wants to address the council at this time as it relates to the special use for the group child care home. You'll have 3 minutes to address the council and giving us your name and address for the record, please.
Pamela Jarrell, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0175, or 48037, I'm sorry. My telephone number is 248-346-0439. I'm in total support of her special request use. There can never be enough educational and learning facilities for children. And certainly we can approve her request if we can set up dispensaries, even though there's 137 in Detroit. But I would like to applaud her for being in business for almost 10 years and not doing any serious advertising, and it was just word of mouth. And you know that you have a great product and a great business when you can stay in business for that long just by people talking about it. So, Ms. Garland, I approve. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carol Humbleby. My address is 20731 Secluded Lane in Southfield, Michigan. Thank you for this opportunity, Madam President, Mayor, and members of the council. I just want to say that I'm here to support the use of this facility. I have been a Garland's neighbor for over 10 years. The use of their home as a daycare does not produce any noise, trash, or anything of an issue for me as a neighbor. As a matter of fact, the Garlands are excellent neighbors, which at this time and these days is very important to the character of our street and to our neighborhood. So I just want to say that I'm here on support of her and the use of her facility, and I would hope that you would actually approve her. Thank you so much for your time. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie English, 24011 Wildwood Court, Southfield 48034. I'd like to support this also. My children are products of daycare. My oldest child was in a more institutional daycare situation. My youngest son was part of a group home situation. I would speak on the benefit, the actual business benefit of this. My son excelled in school, all the way from elementary school to high school and through college. There was a difference in terms of the support, the structure, and just his overall academic success starting off. I don't know really scientifically why it was not as beneficial for my child in the institutional care, but it is telling if a neighbor does support this that there is not any negative impact to the surrounding areas with traffic. And also, too, as I said, there is nothing more difficult in terms of raising children, in terms of finding care. and really good care. And I do support any opportunity where there is a channel to educate children that will benefit them, through their through their educational careers. And it does start at that young age. So I just would like to support it based on the comparison that I see, and that there is actually a future business benefit to having good care within our community.
Good evening. I'm Charles Gilliam, precinct elected delegate, 19, I believe, or 20. I will give my support to, I'd rather have something like this young lady's been doing the last 10 years, within 500 feet of my property, where, I just recently came in here, and I passed some of the, office complex out there around noon where people stand out there in their cold, with no shirt sleeves on, taking a smoke. And I can't stand smoking my lungs. I'd rather have, something like this young lady teaches kids than to have a house where when I'm trying to barbecue in my backyard, there's smoke going down my lungs. I know people got to do it, but we were making strides where, in one town where they would make you can't smoke cigars in restaurants. But in other words, I won't hurt people like that around me, little children around me, myself smelling that stuff that y'all want to do, what you got to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We will declare the public hearing closed. Council?
I have a question. Ms. Garland, I can ask you a question. Over the weekend, I looked at your floor plan.
Yes.
Is anyone living in the house?
I live in a home.
So you have the house next door?
I own 2 homes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I own 2 homes, but
confused.
that's not a problem. The planning commission was as well. I own both properties, but I actually relocated to the home where the child care facility would be.
All right, I'm familiar with your neighborhood, and I was really glad to see your neighbor come forward. I have no objections.
I would like to thank my neighbor, Ms. Carol, and also the other people I have no idea who they are, but I would like to thank them for coming and supporting as well. Appreciate it.
Yes, I read the information that was presented to us, and the letter that you wrote about the success of your students when they're in kindergarten. They have they test as a second grade reading level. Are you sure you're not at school? Still, a daycare center.
Well, actually, most of my parents tell me, you're not a daycare, you are a school. My students actually do wear uniforms. I have monthly newsletters, so I present more. As I said, I wanted to give my parents more. I looked at it, my daughter attended, she attended a Montessori school, and she also attended a home child care facility. And I give what I expected as a parent. And actually, I wish I would have done as much with my own children, although they have done wonderful in school. If I would have only done what I'm doing for other people's children, for my own children. I love it. It comes naturally, so.
Well, it's really nice to see someone that doesn't approach something as a job, because when you're doing something that you have passion for, you'll do it for free because you have a passion for it. A lot of child care centers are just holding places, so the parents drop them off in the morning, pick them up at night, and they take good care of them, but they don't spend the time teaching the young children how to read and the things that were in your letter. And we need that. We need that for our young people, because if they don't get it before the 3rd grade, they're almost lost. So I'm also very supportive of this, and I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you.
I have to say, I believe this is the first that we've had your neighbors come, surrounding neighbors, of a potential increase in numbers to come up and speak favorably for you. And I would definitely be supporting this as well. So I'm going to call for the question at this time. Ms. Simon.
Yes, I do want to speak to
People obviously do, your clients, your customers, obviously appreciate the care that you take, and I would call it education, the attempt that you are a teacher, whether you're licensed or not, that's what you obviously love to do. My concerns with the previous plan were, and I think you know this, the basement, some of the locations, the fact that if they had to get out in a fire, although, we told so-and-so would do this and so-and-so would do that, I felt very uncomfortable about that situation, and that was why I denied it. Now you've taken this other house, and those conditions don't exist, is that correct?
That is correct. We are on the upper level, so we actually have 3 ways to get out: the front door, the back door, and then there's a door to the garage as well. But when I was licensed at the previous, although that's really irrelevant, in the basement, I did have to spend quite a few $1,000s to get an egress window, because they did request that we had an egress window was almost as large as a door, and it had steps to go out.
And I remember all of that, but that was the reason that I felt that it doesn't matter to me what the state supports. I could see problems with that and under the right conditions, and I just couldn't support it. Not that, what you're doing is fine, but the physical conditions to me were a problem if there were an emergency, if there were a fire, and I wouldn't want to none of us want to put anyone at risk. Teachers, parents, children, certainly we wouldn't want to do that. So I'm very pleased that you made this move to the House, and with that change, I think that I can support this.
Thank you. I must say that the atmosphere for myself and for the children, just to be able to look outside after being in the basement for so long, even though it was very nice, it was set up basically the same as what you see, but to be able to just have that view, you just don't understand how nice it is for myself and for the children as well.
Some of these letters have talked about that, and they said that great it is for the kids, so that's a wonderful change. So I'm glad we put you in that position.
Thank you.
With improvement for you and for the, I think it will help the business too. So I will support this.
I'd like to move,
We have someone else that wants to speak, Mr. Cruz.
Please don't leave me out of the support here. Being one of the educators here at the table, definitely in favor of this, knowing the importance of early childhood education in particular, and what the benefit is going to bring to the community. So I just want to chime in on my supporters with us. Sounds like we have a unanimous decision here, but we need to make it official. So
thank you. If I could say one quick thing, if one of the things that I would also love to do, I would love to work with, and I don't know who I could speak with about it, but maybe you guys could help me out. My children do so well, and a lot of times I get students that enroll that have attended other centers and schools in the area, and I only know the children in my little bubble and what they can do, but I just feel that the children can do so much more. So if I could work with other facilities within our community to, give them some tips or, because I want all children to do well, not just my children, and they can.
I'm going to read part of one of the letter, and that's when you said, you were talking about your sister, but the change to the upper level allows the children to have different areas for different things. Eating areas got separate from where they take naps, and talked about opening it up so the kids could have more space and not be secluded, but that they could also have natural light and see the animals. And, it just sounds like this made such a huge difference in the environment for the kids. So, like I said, I'm glad that we put you in that position, because it sounds like a great change for you and the family. And I feel better because I feel the safety is there, and that's what really concerns me.
Right, yeah. And I'd like to talk with you further about that. The organization that I work for, we actually have a daycare as well, and we're always looking to connect with other daycares in the area. So we'll definitely.
Okay, ready, I'll move GC 1274, special use request, Wendell and Garland.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Myers, supported by Mr. Frazier to approve GP 1274. Any questions? All in favor?
Can I just add one thing? One of the people talking about how great the school was, making the switch upstairs made it even better. So, how nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item on our agenda, we'll move to the communication
Southfield, Michigan, 48037. At the last televised council meeting on January 26th, this council approved their own yearly meeting schedule for 2015, 2 weeks late, in violation of state law. The Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976. According to PA 267, this council's 2015 meeting schedule should have been approved at council's first meeting of the year, that is on January 12th, and not on January 26th at council's fourth meeting of the year. And I quote from the Open Meetings Act, Section 5, subsection 2. For regular meetings of a public body, there shall be posted within 10 days after the first meeting of the public body in each calendar year, a public notice stating the dates, times, and places of its regular meetings, unquote. In fact, there was no yearly meeting schedule posted on the legal notice bulletin board, period, from January 12th through to January 26th in violation of state law. And yet this council snuck in 2 secret meetings during the 14-day period, one on January 21st at Providence Hospital, and a second on January 26th in the council study. Neither meeting was posted on any updated yearly meeting schedule in violation of state law, because there was no posting at that time. None, not a zilch. So much for transparency promised by the Open Meetings Act. Why does this council repeatedly violate state law? Well, sad to say, this city is ruled by inept outlaws, the Gang of 7, and now the whittled-down Gang of 6, the gang that can't shoot straight. This brain-dead council can't even do a simple administrative detail mandated by state law. That is to approve their own yearly meeting schedule for 2015 at council's first meeting of the year, and not the fourth meeting of the year. Oh, and by the way, Madam President, these screw-ups, these violations of state law happen on your watch, on your shift, and under your leadership. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you.
The next person to speak is Pamela Gerald.
I think most of the residents already know who I am, and you already have my address. I just wanted to thank the residents that called me and sent cards in reference to the loss of my father on January 19th during the time that I was at the Martin Luther King event. And I just want to thank Ms. Talley for, again, putting on a wonderful event. But I was quite disturbed about something that happened at that event. I felt as though the acting council president took credit for something that you were not the initiator of. Former Councilman Jeremy Moss, now state rep, Councilman Myron Frazier, Councilman Cyber, and then Mayor Brenda Lawrence, now Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, introduced that ordinance. And I felt that credit was taken when, if I remember, as council president, you didn't even want to put it on the agenda. And you withheld it for quite some time when the people wanted this. And you stood up there at that event and took credit for it. I'm also happy to the fellow Oakland County, State of Michigan residents that called you out on it. And I just find it to be very disingenuous that you made it appear as if it was something that you spearheaded. And I also find it disingenuous for a Republican to now be going to a lot of Democratic events. I don't quite understand the manner in which that's done, so maybe Republicans can go to Democratic events and kind of get a feel for what the people want. I think, there's a mixed crowd in terms of the voters here, but I think it's quite apparent that residents in the city of Southfield have a tendency to lean towards Democrats. So if you, as a Republican, are going to those events to see really what the people want, to be more in touch, I applaud you, but it's just not a good thing to do when you take credit for something that you were not the initiator of. And I also understood that you were called out on an article that you commented about in the Washington Post, or one of the leading newspapers, that you forgot, and you said you were misquoted. Would you allow a magazine or highly publicized newspaper to misquote you and have that quote lingering for 11 years? I don't think so. So I want to thank State Rep Jeremy Moss, Councilman Myron Frazier, Councilman Kenton Cyber, and also Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence for going forward with that amendment and getting the people what they wanted. Thank you. And I'm going to yield before my time is up.
Absolutely. And I'd like to, again, correct what was stated, because the Human Rights Ordinance was initially initiated by Mr. Jeremy Moss. It was sent to the city attorney. Miscommunication, it did not come to this body at any time last year. It was I who brought the ordinance from the city attorney. It could have taken 4 people at any time last year to bring the ordinance forward. None of my colleagues did. At the beginning of the year, after I read the ordinance, and being a supporter of equal rights, I introduced the ordinance which was brought forward by Mr. Moss. So I made it clear at the last meeting. So I'm just trying to understand what person or group of people are attempting to smear my character and attempting to smear my character. I've worked very diligently serving the city, and I will continue to work very diligently serving the city of Southfield. I've worked for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission for several years as an EEO investigator. I fully support the Human Rights Ordinance. I believe that all people should be treated equally and with respect. But I'm not going to allow people to, well, you can if you want to, but I will not allow anyone to attempt to tear my character up. And I will stand on my record of what I've done in the city, and that's who I am. The next person that'd like to speak is Stephanie English.
Stephanie English, 24011 Wildwood Court, 48034. I actually want to bring forward a recommendation for the city. I've been pondering it since my divorce last year. Just on a personal note, my ex-husband was granted the marital home, so I'm currently renting and planning to buy a house next year. I thought about the road improvement fund. I'm still connected to the community, and I know a lot of times you guys always mention things in terms of the taxpayers, which would be the homeowners. I want to push forward an idea that maybe I can meet Fred Zorn on to see if it is feasible, but actually having a campaign to have other people who would normally not receive a tax bill where this road improvement fund is going to, they're going to be billed for it, to have a system where we could volunteer to contribute to this program. If I'm a renter, and if I normally donate $150 to Channel 56 each year, to reduce my taxation, I could actually donate that money to the city of Southfield. I did go over to the Treasurer's Department, and Patrick, the person sitting at the desk, went back to ask one of the managers, would this be viable? She did send a message forward back to me at the counter that if I wrote on the bottom of my check that I wanted this particular check to be earmarked for the Road Commission Fund, that it could be accepted. I think that if we could actually go to the churches, which actually benefit from our city services in terms of our roads, and maybe since the churches get a lot of tithing in, maybe they would want to actually contribute. It's just an idea. Let's just say that even at this forum, if someone sees on cable that, hey, I'm getting ready to do my taxes, I wish I had a little more write-off, hey, I'm going to write a couple $100 to the city of Southfield. Even if 10 people did it, even if we got $2,000, that's probably enough for a few buckets of tar to fill some holes. It's just an opportunity. I'm right now doing my budget to make this contribution when they would normally send out the tax bills this spring. And I'm hoping that people that are watching TV might consider, an opportunity for themselves. Again, it's a contribution. However, maybe Mr. Zorn could guide me in terms of how to write the check or, whatever. But I think it's just a good idea because it's engaging to a sector of people that would normally not be billed for the, for this project. Right now, cities are taking care of their own roads. Lansing's not giving us solutions. So the cities are doing, pretty much what we're doing in terms of, passing a bond to bill the taxpayers. But I'm still a taxpayer, and just because I'm renting, I would like to, still be engaged in the process also. And again, I'm hoping that, anyone watching this program might consider it. It's a tax, and also too, okay, this Friday, also, GM people get their checks. They can write some money from their profit sharing check.
All right, the next person to be recognized is Vanessa Slasher.
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor Fracassi, Honorable Council. My name is Vanessa Fresh. I live on my home in Southfield. I'm the mother of 6 adult children, 2 grandchildren, and I'm sorry to say I have disengaged myself from city politics, so I really haven't been abreast on what's been going on. And it was brought to my attention by reading the Southfield Sun that you enacted a human rights ordinance that on the surface seemed to be a very good ordinance. As a Christian, I don't condemn discrimination against anyone. As an African American, surely I understand the struggles of the civil rights movement and the things that we had to endure as a people, but I don't see this issue as being a civil rights issue by tacking on lesbian, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders. They don't need equal rights. What's going to happen is that that's going to bring discrimination against people like myself, against Muslims, against Orthodox Jewish people. I've taken the opportunity to write a 6-page memo on why this is not a good ordinance, why it's going to raise many constitutional issues associated with it, and it's problematic, and it's some things that I don't think the council maybe have addressed. It was disconcerting to me. I saw an article, I was researching this, and there's a group called Unity Michigan, and the thing that struck me was our attorney, Jay Kaplan. He worked with our city attorney in drafting this. And it's based on, this ordinance that we've approved is based on the Elliott-Larsen Act, which hasn't been approved at the state level. In fact, so many citizens rose up against it, it was stopped in committee. So my question is, why are we as a city enacting something that at the state level has been stopped because of public outcry? You mentioned that we have to abide by state law, where our state law has not approved this. They have not amended the Elliott-Larsen Act, so why are we at the city level amending something that the state has found a problem with? So I would like to ask you to table your voting on this issue to consider other thoughts on this, because I think that's problematic if you have a small lobbying group who they say in their writings that what they're trying to do is go city by city to enact something so they can get momentum so they can push it at the state level. That's wrong. You're using a special interest group to influence your decisions, and I think we can't do that. So I would like to ask this council to table this voting on this today to consider, because I talked to a lawyer, he gave me some legal opinions on this. I'd like you to look at this, and I apologize again that I wasn't involved with when you discussed this openly. But I'd also like to say that as a Christian, and my opinions are not my opinion, they're God's opinions. Homosexuality is an abomination before God. All of us are sinners. That's what the Bible states. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Adultery, fornication, all these things are sin. Homosexuality is a sin. It's not. Our city should not condone it.
Thank you. The next person is Daryl.
No public demonstration.
Daryl, excuse me, I run the meeting. Thank you very much. Pastor Daryl Kimbrough, if he's here. The next person is Richard Nelson.
Good evening. Richard Meltzer, 20850 Lincoln, Southfield. I just wanted to make a couple of comments today about a couple of process issues. The first and foremost here is about speaking in the fashion that I am tonight, where one has to sign up in advance. Part of the problem is that when one reviews the agenda, which is, to my awareness, only commonly available the Friday before the Monday meeting, if you see something on the agenda that you'd like to speak to, make a few comments about, you realize, well, I didn't sign up the previous Wednesday, and therefore I wouldn't be able to come in and make any comment. I do speak before the council in a lot of different cities about some issues that I'm involved with, and Southfield is the only city that I run into that has that requirement. I think that was implemented a few years ago, and I can't really recall what the motivation was at that time, but I do find it to be kind of restrictive, and I don't know if it's ever been a reconsideration if the motivation that existed initially is still in place. I'd also like to add that these kind of forums where you get to speak for 3 minutes, and even in public forums where you're still limited to a 3-minute comment, it really is a comment session, and I'm unaware of really any opportunity where someone can bring forth a body of work that you'd like to present in some totality, kind of in more of an educational presentation format for the benefit of the council. We used to have at least 5 minutes several years ago, like 3 years ago, because for 5 minutes, at one time I tried to bring in a packet, a real quick PowerPoint, and I was kind of cut short, and only by the interest of Councilman Lance, who I haven't seen very well. Is he no? Answer that later. Then he kept me up there, and we talked more. So anyways, that's some of my thoughts. Maybe you can take that under advisement and see if the motivation still exists. On another point, very quickly, I notice in the agenda sometimes there are trip reports, that people put in for reimbursement on trip expenses. And I've never seen a trip report, and I know from my own experience in corporate America that commonly when people engage in travel and incur expenses to go to a conference or whatever, it's usually incumbent upon them that they write a trip report so that other employees in the company can benefit from the learnings that were obtained in the travel. Similarly, I think that would be relevant for Southfield, shared amongst the other employees, and in this case, potentially even for the citizens. And moreover, it provides the justification for the incurred expense. I think a lot of citizens would like to see what the purpose was. Okay, thank you very much.
The next person to speak is Mr. Charlie Williams.
Good evening. It's a pleasure for the City Council of Southfield to make citizens like me speak to you. There's nothing wrong with freedom of speech. But there are some out there in other cities that don't believe in it. They'll come around to you and sit down, They don't believe in freedom of expression, freedom of speech. They got a 2x4 ready for you. But I'm glad I'm in the city of Southfield. You can believe in it, let everybody hear this say. I want to talk to you about the road conditions, but I read an article in the Southfield Centric a couple of days ago that fascinated me about when our own police officer pulled a young lady over for texting, and she got out of her car and she didn't have any proof of insurance, and she spit in his face. Went down his glass on the cheek of his face, and they supposed that one of our officers said, A's, maybe whatever they call that stuff that take 20 years to kill you. What's that? I can't think of it now. But anyway, remarkable what he did. If you ever been somewhere else, like in the South, you would empty this gun in a Punch Village style, But our officers here are really trained by their chief here, and I commend him. All he did was arrest her, and he didn't put a hand on her. And it's in the paper, Southfield paper. So much that our police officers have to go through. But anyway, when I want to talk about the roads, that road on Southfield 10 Mile, was chipped out and broke off all of last year. And that first big storm we came, when it plowed it up, just like glass broke up, it's just like craters on it already. And down by Southfield, Mount Vernon, the waterway broke down there. And they fixed up the plumbing there, but when they put the road back, they couldn't pave. But when they put the road back, they just do like they do anybody in southeast of Michigan. They drag the truck over, and there's a big crater in that. A couple weeks, they gone. And we called, some of the citizens called, and they said it'd be a year to 5 years when they get that guy and fix it. Somebody already got the money. But what I'm trying to say is we got money here now off this last village. Don't let some people put the stuff on you, talk about that's how we get in southeastern Michigan. I went to Lance, they got some beautiful roads up there, they fix up there. I went to the Huntington, beautiful roads up there, 2-3 years. Our road should last at least 20 years. My uncle told me, you better watch the challenge when you do your driveway. It was 30 years ago. He said it cost mix it thin, give you a good price, but a couple years from now, start cracking just like land. They sticking it to us here. You go to Ohio, the Ohio Valley, all that stuff goes, they got great roads there. I went to okay, thank you for listening to me.
All right, thank you for this time. And we're actually going to be talking about roads a little bit later in this agenda today. Mr. Sam Hughes, well, you're representing Alder 1.
Yes, thank you so very much. Barbara Sermon, 28315 West Kalom Circle, Southfield, Michigan. I will be representing Sam Hughes, Charles Petway, Don Smith, and the San Marino Village Improvement Association. First of all, I would like to begin by thanking the City of Southfield for the huge construction investment devoted to our subdivision back in 2003-2004. I also would like to thank Mr. Zorn, our City Administrator, Ms. Lee Schultz, our City Engineer, and our Director of Public Works, Mr. Larry Schultz, for the very quick response that they made to our complaint about the difficulty we were experiencing with the underground storm lines that were placed in our subdivision in 2003-2004. Had an opportunity to meet with them today, and I would like, please, Mr. Charles Petway, Mr. Don Smith, Mr. Sam Hughes, and anyone else representing San Marino to please stand. No pause necessary. What I want, the reason why they are here is because they are the ones that are invested in this storm drain, and they're the ones that are having difficulty, as sometimes their lawns are flooding, and certainly their basements are flooding. I'd like to let you know that at 3:30 today, I met with the City Administrator and their staff, and they are not only evaluating and investigating, but they're also looking for resolution. So I just wanted to thank you for that, and we'll move forward as we continue with our discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, the last person that will be recognized this evening is Barbara Talley.
Good evening. Thank you for recognizing me. My name is Barbara Talley, and I am a resident of Southfield for 44 years. And I'm here on behalf of the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force and the President, Dorothy Dean, who could not be here this evening. And I have a letter that I would like to present, and I have enough copies for each one of you. So what do I do? That I would like to read. Should be one for the mayor. This is to the Honorable Southfield Mayor and City Council. Dear Southfield Mayor and City Council, the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force is a nonprofit tax-exempt organization formed in 1985 in the city of Southfield, Michigan, and became the first city in the state of Michigan to have a peace walk honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The organization celebrated its 30th anniversary this past January, and the city of Southfield has been a major sponsor and supporter of the organization and its activities during that time. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. received the Nobel Peace Prize because of his message was one that called for basic guarantees of human rights and human dignity to all people. For the past 30 years, the Southfield Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force has marched along Civic Center Drive to the city of Southfield Pavilion as a testament to Dr. King's legacy, and from the community gather each year and peacefully participate in honoring Dr. King Jr. Since 1992, each year the city of Southfield has temporarily placed a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive street sign above the Civic Center Drive street sign from the third Monday in January to February. Just as the federal government recognized Dr. King Jr. in 1983 by making his birthday a national holiday, we request that the city of Southfield stand up and recognize Dr. King by permanently placing his name above the Civic Center Drive. Additionally, we request that the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive street sign remain permanently above the Civic Center Drive sign to be in accord with the more than 730 cities in the United States that have a street named after Dr. King. This request is not to officially change the name of the Civic Center Drive, but to place the street sign above the original name. We further request, if necessary, that this matter be referred to the next committee of the whole meeting for discussion, and that the sign not be removed until such time that a vote is taken on this request.
There's some action here requesting that this be referred to the next committee as a whole, and without any opposition, we will refer to the next committee as a whole. All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move to the council portion of our agenda. Council? Mr. Kruger.
I just want to mention one or two things that are kind of relative to some things mentioned today. I just came back yesterday from the Michigan Municipal League for training for new leaders in city government, where I met with a number of new council persons from across the state. And two things I would mention. One was discussion around this medical marijuana came up, of course, and I just want folks to know that we're not the only city moving in this direction, that there are other municipalities across the state that have taken the approach to zoning to kind of try to contain the efforts that might take place in our city. And so the best way we can approach it at this point in time seems to be from that perspective. So I don't want folks to think that we're out here alone or making up our own rules as we go along. This is something that collectively other cities across the state are working towards. And the other thing I would mention, going back to Ms. English, to your point, actually there was a discussion we had around crowdfunding, which is an opportunity for citizens to invest in their city. Okay, so it was a new concept to me, but it's something I wanted to definitely bring back to the council, and maybe an opportunity we might be able to use to look at different ways to, for all of us who live in the city and care for our city, to donate, to invest in the city. And along with that, there was another piece. We saw a lot of people here for the Public Art Commission. The state actually does a type of crowdfunding with that, where they match funds. So if we were to set a goal to raise, say, for instance, $10,000, and we were successful, the state would give us another 10 to buy public art for the city. Okay, so there's some different things that are going on out there. So I was thankful to be able to go, and you can count that as part of my report back from my conference. But I think that's a good idea that we kind of give those reports back. And I know from various times people have come back from those conferences and given similar type reports and so forth. But I want to share those items.
Anyone else? Mr. Frazier?
It's heartwarming and comfortable. Gives me a comfortable feeling to know that our newest council member is getting involved in the Michigan Municipal League. There are so many times when It's either overwhelming or they feel they know everything now that they've been elected or appointed. I don't have to do anything else to keep up to date, but I welcome you. I'm very active in Michigan Municipal League. I'm on the foundation board, and I've gone through the steps of being on the Michigan Municipal League board. I was vice president of the board too, so there's a world of experience, a world of good ideas that are out there, and as long as Southfield keeps stepping outside of the borderlines of Southfield and seeing what other communities are doing, it's going to be helpful to making us stay at the center of it all. So I applaud you for getting involved and bringing back some information.
Anyone else? We'll move to the mayor's portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to say nice to have Representative Moss here in the audience. I hope your coffee over at the library was successful. I'd love to see you follow through on something. I got an email today where they want to play with our revenue sharing and how they're going to distribute the money and how much they're going to maybe take from us again. And would you please keep us in mind what's going on over there so that we might be able to put some political pressure on those who feel that they should try to balance their budget on our backs again.
Is that it? What? Very good, Mr. McCarthy. We'll move on to the administration portion of the agenda.
Madam President, I have two items that were discussed at our committee of the whole, which preceded this evening's meeting. The first is reference to street bonds, our first issuance. And with this, I have attached to the communication a resolution where we're asking council to concur with the proposed scope of work for 2015, 16, and 17 as presented at our committee of the whole on February 9th. And then we're also asking council to authorize a bond resolution as prepared by Miller Canfield. The resolution provides that the bonds will be sold by competitive public sale and delegates to the authorized officers of the city the authority to approve the final terms of the bond and to award the sale of the bonds to the low bidder. Kerry Blanchett with PM Financial was with us earlier this evening. PMF Financial is our financial advisor on these matters. And Steve Frank, our legal counsel with Miller Canfield, is in the audience tonight if there are any questions regarding this matter.
I'll entertain a motion at this time. If there are any questions.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, to approve the bond authorization resolution. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, if I may, my second item was also discussed at the committee of the whole meeting preceding this evening's meeting, and it's the communication was titled First Quarter Budget Adjustment. And you have a recommended resolution that proposes a number of fund transfers, cleaning up some quarterly, cleaning up and providing funding for a number of items in the 2014-15 budget.
We'll entertain a motion as well.
Madam President, I move that we approve the first quarter budget adjustment as presented to us. Committee of the whole meeting.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, to approve the first quarter budget adjustment. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is that it, Mr. Zorn?
Those are the two items I have action on. I do want to comment. I take a lot of pleasure when I see people sworn in for different commissions, and that the talent pool of this community. Many of you are aware this is the third community I've worked in my career, and then a larger regional economic development group. I've never had the pleasure of working in a community that has such a broad talent pool. The degrees and the credentialing is phenomenal. You can see that in the scope, and I
know in dialogue with my other department heads and that, you know, that's one of the things that invigorates us about this community. And we're incredibly fortunate to have such a talent pool willing to give of their time as well.
It really makes a difference when you see residents of the city getting involved and making a difference, and not just complaining, but willing to put their feet to the fire and get involved in what's happening in our city and keeping our city moving forward. We'll go to the attorney's portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Madam President. Obviously, the first item was moved up with respect to the zoning for the medical marijuana. That ordinance was introduced. The second item is another matter that we had discussed at the earlier committee of the whole meeting, and that was with respect to establishing a 183-day moratorium on soup kitchens and homeless shelters, so as to give the planning department and the city attorney's office the opportunity to determine whether regulations should be drafted and implemented. We also committed at the earlier meeting that we would come back to council within 90 days and kind of give you a draft of maybe what those recommendations are before they're actually implemented to the planning commission for recommendation. So this is consistent with what we discussed at the earlier meeting.
Take a motion.
Also moved to close the moratorium for 183 days.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Snyder, supported by Mr. Frazier, to approve the proposed moratorium. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other items to be brought forward to this meeting this evening? Mr. Groves.
Yeah, prior to that, I just want to let the council know that I did verify that your action on the December 15th meeting was to extend the moratorium 90 days from January 5th. That covers us through the first week of April, and will fall in line with your March 23rd meeting. The other thing is, if you have a question. Okay. The other item again is, last month I presented the Sustainable Southfield website, and again want to encourage citizens to sign up to sustainablesouthfield.mindmixer.com and vote. We've had over 1,100 people on the website to date, and coincidentally with the Public Arts Commission, this topic through the end of Wednesday is arts and culture. So topics change every Thursday, and again, more people that participate, the better it will be for council making informed decisions.
We do have two ordinances to enact. Ordinance 1635, we'll take a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, to enact ordinance 1635. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we enact ordinance number 1636, the Southfield Human Rights Ordinance.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. Frazier, supported by Ms. Seymour, to enact ordinance 1636. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any